Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 4. So in this season of The Flash, we've had new characters introduced, which is what you would expect in a new season of a show like The Flash. The previous season, you lose one, two, or even a few characters. So naturally, you expect to make up for those losses with a few new character additions in the next season. So this season we have met new villainous or at least antagonizing forces in the form of not just Clifford DeVoe, aka the Thinker, but also characters such as Amina Black and the many meta-humans caused by Barry exiting the Speed Force right next to that bus full of people, which hit them with dark matter. And the subject of this video is actually going to be on one of those bus riders, and of course that is Godspeed. Of course I'm joking. We're actually going to be talking about Ralph Dibny. But of course, before we continue, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on what I go over in this video, and whether you agree with me or disagree with me, just let me know down there. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we met Ralph Dibny back in episode 4 of this season in the fittingly titled episode Elongated Journey into Night, where we learned that, as I said earlier, he was actually one of the metas created on that bus when Barry exited the Speed Force. So Ralph only had his powers for a few weeks up to that point, and it was in that episode, episode 4, where they came out to shine and show themselves, if you want to call it that. But this season, The Flash wasn't actually the first time that the character of Ralph Dibny was brought up or referenced. We've actually had him referenced earlier in the series run, and to be exact, it was back in episode 7 of season 1 in an episode entitled Power Outage, where we had this scene with Eobard Wells, or the fake Harrison Wells, talking down the villain for the episode, who was Blackout.
Barry. Oh my god, are you okay? Did he hit you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Guys.
Oh my god. Oh my god, no, please.
Hey! You're here for me. Finally, you show your face. Well, I wasn't exactly eager to be killed. Neither were my friends. I know. I hurt a lot of people that night. People? You don't even know their names. Jake Davenport. Daria Kim. Ralph Dibny. Al Rothstein. Grant Emerson. Will Everett. Bea DaCosta. Ronnie Raymond. I know the names of every person who died that night. I know they all mattered. And the fact that the world is now deprived of their potential is something that I have to live with every day. But these people have done nothing wrong. You want to punish me? Fine. Let's do that. But let these people live.
But anyway, in that clip or scene, whatever you want to call it, that you just watched, Eobard Wells, or as I said, the fake Wells, name drops Will Everett, who is otherwise known as Amazing Man in the comics, Bea DaCosta, who is otherwise known as Fire, Grant Emerson, who is otherwise known as Damage, and he also drops Al Rothstein, who is otherwise known as Atom Smasher, who then we saw pop up again in the Season 2 premiere as a corpse after his Earth 2 doppelganger came and killed him. But yeah, the scene does have Wells saying that he hurt these people, but it is obviously implied that by hurt, he means that he had hands or he played a role in their deaths. So that Al Rothstein name drop only for him to show up again in season 2 is a weird and confusing one. But yeah, that's not the focus of this video. We're talking about Ralph Dibny in this one. Eobard Wells, as you can obviously tell from that clip, also drops Ralph Dibny's name among those that list of people he hurt, aka killed. So due to that, how the hell is Ralph alive? We know that he didn't get his powers that night of the particle accelerator and then go into hiding and then pop out this season. We know that he was on that bus when Barry escaped the Speed Force and got his powers that way. So what the hell is going on with all of this? Now, what we will be going over in this video that sort of explains what's going on here is actually a few months old, and I didn't use this information or this interview back then, as I didn't really feel it was worth talking about, but so many people over the past month, and especially the past 2 weeks, I don't know why it's heating up so much, but anyway, in the past month to 2 weeks, so many people have been asking me about this various scene that I showed you before, so I thought I may as well address this while I can, before it heats up too much and everyone's talking about this season 1 scene. Just before it escalates too much, I thought I'd clarify to everyone that subscribes to my channel what the hell is going on here. So back in, I think it was November, it might have been right at the end of October, it was either right at the beginning of November, or right at the end of October, the executive producers at the time, which involved Andrew Kreisberg and Todd Helbing, Obviously, Andrew Kreisberg isn't there anymore, but they were asked about Ralph and the fact that he was actually name dropped in season 1, but there was never really any like information, or they weren't talking about that in this season or referencing back to what happened in season 1. And this is actually what they had to say. I don't remember. You know what? You make a lot of TV, we're going to say some things that we probably shouldn't have. So Kreisberg forgot that they had even name dropped him, which I guess is understandable and also makes it seem as if the name drop in season 1 was just rushed and just for the sake of it and sort of forced. Like they didn't really need to say Ralph Dibny was there. It was more just like an Easter egg. But then Todd Helbing went on to say this: "Hello, Flashpoint." Which Kreisberg then followed with, "Oh yeah, Flashpoint, that's right. Flashpoint erased that. Doesn't matter, changed it, sorry." But Kreisberg did go on to clarify why Ralph was brought onto the show now for this season. Every once in a while, somebody would bring it up as sort of like an episodic thing, and we thought he was sort of too big a deal, but what we really wanted to do was, it's season 4, and shows can get stale. So we really wanted to bring somebody in and then really have it feel like something new and something different and something that you hadn't seen a lot of on television. And not just his skill set, but also that character. But were they being serious with Flashpoint being the reason that Ralph is still alive in this season of The Flash? Well, obviously not. They were joking in the interview. Flashpoint is not the reason that Ralph is alive on The Flash right now. The real reason for this is, well, it's just a simple retcon. That's all it is, no in-depth Flashpoint explanation or reasoning. It's just a retcon. And them sort of joking about Flashpoint being the reason behind it is sort of my reason for making this video, because so many more people were saying, "Oh no, Ralph's alive now because of Flashpoint." They said it in an interview, and I was like, no, I read that interview. They were joking. Like, Flashpoint isn't the reason for it. Now, for those wondering what a retcon is, you may have heard that term thrown around and might not know what it exactly means when it comes to a TV show in particular. A retcon is essentially something that is introduced later into a show's run. So not at the beginning, but later on, that changes or gives off like a different interpretation of something that was already established previously in a show's run. So in the case of The Flash show and Ralph Dibny, back in season 1, in that clip I showed, it was established that he was most likely killed by the particle accelerator. But now, in season 4, that never happened. He was a former colleague of Barry's in the past and was connected to the show in that way. The Al Rothstein name drop can also be seen as the same thing as well, but hey, Adam Smasher, this isn't your video, this is about Ralph Dibny, so go away! Flashpoint isn't the answer for every little change that happens in not only The Flash, but the other Arrowverse shows as well as a whole. It is important to keep that in mind going forward with these shows. So if something happens and a character pops up again that you thought was either dead, or, you know, something else that happened to them where it doesn't really fit in them coming back into the show, don't scream Flashpoint, 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 just because it gets a bit annoying, and this is an example of that. A lot of people screaming at Flashpoint because of this reason, but I don't know if people were just getting confused because they didn't understand that the producers were joking in this interview or not, or people just assumed it was Flashpoint and just went on with it. So just because of this one, it is an example, just not to scream Flashpoint, but yeah, this is an example of Flashpoint not being the reason for a change in an Arrowverse show, and in particular The Flash. Obviously, we had that stuff on Arrow that got changed because of Flashpoint, but they actually made it clear that Flashpoint was the reason for that change. Like, if Flashpoint did cause a lot of things or something to happen on this show, they would make it pretty clear, because the Flash is usually, in all these shows, usually, you know, shove it right in front of your face. They go, yeah, this is what happened, just making sure you understand. Do you understand? Do you understand? You understand? Okay, that's awesome. We can continue now. So they wouldn't be very subtle with this. They would actually just make it extremely clear that Ralph was still alive due to Flashpoint, if that was actually the case. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you drop a like on the video to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your different opinions on what I've talked about in this video. Do you agree with me? Do you still... do you agree with me? Sorry. Do you think it's just a retcon, or do you completely disagree with me and you just think that it was Flashpoint? And even though the producers were joking, it is actually still the case that Ralph is alive because of Flashpoint. Just let me know in the comments section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.